Big game tonight at Wrigley Field. Kyle Hendricks, who's pitched in all the big games, it feels like, gets to start. Welcome to the Cubs baseball channel. Let's talk a little Cubs baseball, but first, like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. Thanks for hanging out. Mick Gillispie here, Cubs baseball channel, and appreciate all you guys for being here with us tonight at Wrigley. It's a 6:40 game between the Giants and the Cubs. Cubs were a winner yesterday, a 5-0 victory where Justin Steele, everybody's talking about him now as a contender for the Cy Young, not the Heisman, although you guys know what I mean. He's a contender. I think he's one of the leaders. I think it's coming down to him and a couple other guys, but I think the magnitude of the games that the Cubs are playing, the way that he's pitching, ending the Brewers' 9-game winning streak, last start, this start, another dominant performance. Someone put on the message board, I loved it. They're like, it's like he has the cheat code, and it does. It looked like he had the cheat code. Like they just couldn't figure out how to hit him. That's been his season. So Claude Passeau, who is a Cubs legend from back in the 40s, pitched in the 1945 World Series for the Cubs, comes from the same town. I'm sure you guys know that. And Justin Steele actually pitches, or did in high school, on Claude Passeau Field, and now he looks like Claude Passeau. He gets out there just wheeling and dealing. So we'll keep an eye on that, but it couldn't have been a better game one. Now the Cubs try to take the series tonight at 6:40, and it's reliever Ryan Walker getting the start. He's kind of been back between the bullpen and starting for the Giants when they need someone. 4-2 record and a 2.16 ERA, so he's been really good. Not sure how long he'll go against the guy that we're talking about as far as Cubs legends, and I put him up there as a Cubs legend. I mean, he got the Cubs to the first World Series since Claude Passeau, and that would be Kyle Hendricks. Remember when he pitched Game 6 against the Dodgers, and the guy on the Dodgers that I didn't know much about, I just knew he was a good player. Now with the Cubs, Cody Bellinger was there back in 2016, and then he started Game 7. So he's pitched in just about every meaningful, pressure-packed game. Hendricks, obviously not the same pitcher that he was back then, but he's still finding a way to help this team win. 5-7 record and a 359 earned run average. I still trust him. He's not overpowering people, never did really, but now he doesn't hit 90 much anymore at all, but he's still able to get outs. And with this great defense that the Cubs have, I don't think that you really have to go out there and strike everyone out. I think you just let them put the ball in play, try to get weak contact, pitch to contact outs like Javier Assad and Justin Steele are showing us, and let Nico and let Dansby and the boys take care of the rest, right? Let's talk about Cody Bellinger. Has been the DH last couple of games, and David Ross, Cubs manager, said some bumps and bruises. This is the time of year where you go. And if you can't play first and you can't play center field, you still find a way to contribute, and that's what Cody Bellinger's doing. And it's go time right now. And this is why I think he is just an awesome player, giving his all. Basically, he would be off probably if these games weren't so important, but these games really matter. And because of that, Belly's been out there doing his thing. He's still able to hit, and, we'll see when the lineup comes out what things look like today. But the Cubs have other guys that can play. We haven't seen Alexander Canario yet. He's a center fielder. A lot of us are wondering why call him up and just have him sit on the bench. That could change today. That could change tomorrow. Maybe he pinch hits. Mike Tauchman's been really good, though, too. You can't take Seiya Suzuki out of the lineup. He's been on fire. He had another big game yesterday. Ever since the Cubs sat him down, he's just been one of the big playmakers on this team. That's what he's paid for. He's getting the job done. And I think that's another reason why the Cubs have had so much success, is that they're getting a lot of production out of him. So we'll keep an eye on Belly. But I remember Bobby Dernier telling me one time, he was a Gold Glove center fielder for the Cubs, played in the 80s, played on that 84 Cubs team. Really great guy. Used to be the base running and outfield coordinator for the Cubs. Eventually was a base coach, I think a first base coach for the Cubs. Really just high energy, fantastic guy. And he told me you're never 100% once the season starts. You're just constantly dealing with nicks and bruises and injuries and all of that stuff. But great players like Cody Bellinger able to manage that as this team moves forward and tries to win games. All right, let's start with the division race. The Cubs are in the mix. The Brewers lost to Pirates, and what was it, Tom Petty that said even the losers get lucky sometimes? Hopefully the losers will get lucky again today, because the Pirates beating Milwaukee last night gets the Cubs to within striking distance now at 2.5. And 2.5 is a big difference between 3 back, because these teams play at the end of the season. You guys know that. I know that. Everyone knows that. If you can get to within 2.5 on the last series of the season, then you could play these guys for the division. And really, you got to be within 3. But 2.5, yeah, look, you win the series, you win. And I'll be honest, I don't know what the Brewers' schedule is, and it's not something that we're going to look at right now. But they may end up with the same amount of games. You lose some games with rain and all of that kind of stuff, throughout the year. Sometimes you don't. You go back and play them. So let's just say it's 3 games. You get to within 3, and obviously you still have a shot. So exciting stuff, though. And good to see that the Pirates are out there and still trying to play. The Cubs play the Pirates coming up a little bit later down the stretch. So, if they're going to give up, don't give up yet. All right, let's talk about the wild card standings, because this is where the Cubs are clearly in the playoffs. And look at this thing. Philadelphia 5.5 games up. They just continue to win. The Phillies went to the World Series last year, and they have a team full of star players, and they're pushing again. They're not going to catch Atlanta. No one is. Atlanta's the best team in baseball. But remember, they're a team that could beat the Braves in the playoffs, and they're right now 5.5 games up. Then there's the Cubs, the team that was going to sell at the deadline. They came together, led by Dansby Swanson. The guys have played just inspired, clean baseball day after day after day, and it's paid off. They're now 10 games over 500, which to me is amazing. I just didn't see this coming, but I'm glad. You don't always want to be right, and this is one of those times. But if this happened, on a regular basis, then it wouldn't be exceptional. What makes this year exceptional is that it is exceptional. I mean, it just doesn't happen a whole lot. So we're a team that's going down, the toilet, just automatically at one point just turns it around and hits the accelerator. But the Cubs have done that. So they've won 2 straight after back-to-back heartbreaking losses to Cincinnati, and they have a 3-game lead on Arizona. Don't forget, Arizona will be at Wrigley for a series starting on Thursday, 4 games. Then the Cubs go on the road, Colorado, and then they play Arizona again. So they got 7 games against Arizona coming up. Cincinnati won. Now they're still tied with Arizona. Percentage points are the same, but the Diamondbacks, because they've played 2 less games, 1 less win, 1 less loss, are the team. If the season ended today, they'd be in. The Marlins have won 4 straight. They've put themselves right back in the mix again. They're a half a game back of that wild card spot, the last one in the Giants yesterday with that 4-0 loss. They've lost 4 games in a row, and they're going to try to end that streak today. We talked about it. They got reliever Ryan Walker going up against Kyle Hendricks, and that's a look at the stand. We got the Cubs and we got the Giants today. Again, early tomorrow, a day game. Jordan Wicks will be on the mound. Had a chance to talk to former Cubs scouting director Tim Wilkin, and that'll be on the Cubs Scout podcast. I'll tell you right now, his internet connection kind of went back and forth, but we made the best of it. It's our 11th show. It's actually the first show that we started on this channel, and he's a bastion of knowledge when it comes to scouting and player development, and just all of that stuff. He spent his whole life doing it. So I'm talking about a guy who was with the Blue Jays when they, had a back-to-back World Series winner, started with them in the 70s, and then helped develop that team that won in 92, 93, went to Tampa Bay, went to the Cubs, was recently with the Diamondbacks. So check out the Scout podcast. And we talk a lot about Jordan Wicks, who's going to start tomorrow's game. Hey, again, thank you for being on the channel. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe, and we will talk to you to see what happens today. Maybe we'll get back on after the game, but go Cubs.